Hi, this is Dave, Fell Running Guide. Welcome to this week's map reading task. This week we're back in the Peak District, and the task is to identify the two features that I've highlighted on the map. And can you work out the precise photo location? So where was I when I took that photograph? The map is this, which is the Ordnance Survey 1 to 50,000. Okay, let's have a look at the photo. What can we see? Well, we're obviously on the top of a very steep slope. It feels like if I took a couple of paces forwards, I'd disappear down a steep drop. And then just opposite me is a rocky outcrop. The main feature that we're looking at is this big wide valley. We've got a stream in the bottom draining away. Actually looks like it's dried up rather than flowing as a result of the lack of water this year. And then slightly higher up the other side, almost parallel to it, is a track or a road, and they both go off into the distance downhill to a body of water. We don't know at the moment whether that's a lake or a reservoir. Looking to the left of the valley, we've got flat ground that then drops steeply down into the valley bottom and up the other side. And it looks here down near the water, looks like there's a gentle slope that then becomes steeper higher up on the right here, just going out of shot. And beyond the water, we've got a distinctive hill there. So can we see any of that on the map? Let's have a look. Well, we've only got two reservoirs to choose from. We've got Chew Reservoir here and Dovestone Reservoir here. But only one of those is at the bottom of a wide valley with a stream or brook draining into it. We see Chew Reservoir, that's up here almost at 500 metres, whereas Dovestone is at the bottom of Chew Brook. We can see the brook and the track both leading towards the reservoir. So we've got to be somewhere up on the left-hand side of Chew Brook, looking in a roughly northwesterly direction down to what we now know is the reservoir. Okay, so let's go back to the photo and see if we can identify the features or look a little bit more closely at the features. So let me just zoom in a little bit to start with, and let's have a look at the oval feature. So if we look at this, it looks almost like there's a chunk being taken out of the hillside there, and we can imagine water draining into this off the plateau and down this stream here, coming down then turning left and draining down into the valley bottom. See very flat ground off to the right of it as we look and beyond. So can we identify that? So we've already said that we've got to be somewhere here on the left side of Chew Brook looking down the valley, and we've got some streams coming off the plateau and down, but there's only one of them where we can see the contours kink in quite distinctively, with the stream that comes down and then turns left into the valley bottom. So that feature has got to be this big re-entrant here with the stream with the change of direction. So that is where the oval shape is. Now can we identify the rectangle? Okay, so for the rectangle, what we're looking for is this area here, this slightly shallower slope. If we look at the horizon here, we've got a very flat plateau that drops away steeply, and then here it flattens off. You could call it a shelf or a bench, and then steepens off again. So we'd expect widely spaced contours, closer spaced contours, widening out and then steepening again. We know where this is, and we know that it's off beyond that slightly, so further towards the reservoir. Okay, so I've zoomed in a bit more on the map here, and we can see there is our reentrant, there is the flat plateau, and if we start to drop down to the valley bottom from here, steep contours here, or closely spaced contours of steep ground, then here they widen out, and then here they get closer together again. So the point that we were looking at is just this point here, where the contours are slightly wider spaced. So that is the second point. What about the photo location? So it's a little bit more tricky to work out precisely where we are. One thing we know is immediately in front of me there's a big drop. There may or may not be a stream in that, but there's certainly a big drop, and there are rocks slightly down below me. Now what we can do, we can use some known features that we can positively identify and draw some transit lines or lines of sight. So what I mean by that is here we can see a distinctive bend in the track there. So imagine that I flew from where I was and I went over that bend, directly over it, and carried on in a straight line. I'm pretty much going to end up at this hill summit here. Let me just zoom in a little bit for us there. There, over that, and that, the high point on that hill that's beyond the reservoir. So can we see that on the map? Well, yes, beyond the reservoir we've got Alderman's Hill, and the high point on it there is that ring contour. So from there, through that bend in the track there, will put us at our location. So some people were saying we're looking across one of these streams here. So which one is it? Well, if it was this stream here and we went through the bend, look where it puts us. It puts us off on the left flank of Alderman's Hill rather than at the summit. So that doesn't work. Could I be here just above this little stream? Well, again, we can do the same through the bend, and that puts us way off to the right, way further right of Alderman's Hill, and it puts us in a direct line with this steep rocky ground to the east of the reservoir. So that doesn't work. What about this little stream here? Could I be on that? Well, again, through that bend, and look what happens. It puts us right there on Alderman's Hill. So that was the answer, taken from the point just near the D of Wilderness, just on that little stream crossing, looking down the valley across that rocky outcrop. So I hope you got those right this week. I hope you found it interesting. Thanks for watching. Look out for next week's map reading task. Bye for now.